Just 1 second. Big up everyone. Roger, big up to you, and JC, big up to you too. And please, let's keep our answers brief. If Rosa is able to continue, fine. If not, it's going to be a very short one. Let's keep our answers brief. Respect each other's responses and opinion, and just present your counter argument. And let's talk one by one. Roger, big up to you. I wouldn't say I'm too disappointed because I didn't expect too much. I've learned to do that over time.
Yeah, how sad is that?
Exactly. So I've learned to do that. Given how much we suffered this season, I've become numb to us losing games. But straight up to you, Roger. For you, what went wrong? What did we get wrong? Because it seemed the plan worked, but you can't really argue that it worked because there were no end product.
But that's been the case
for decades, maybe.
Millenniums. Listen, this is what I came away from watching this match tonight. We played better than I anticipated. I didn't think we would play this well. I just didn't. I thought, and I knew that when we played Brighton, we were missing, players like Kante, Silva, and Reece, at least starting Reece. Do you understand? So I knew without the centre, the most important players for our team. And I knew we wouldn't play that poorly against Real Madrid, but I didn't think we'd play this well either. So I was really pleased with that. The things that stood out more than a sore thumb was the poor quality in crossing, especially our corners, with one exception. They were horrible. Couldn't even beat the first man. And then obviously missing opportunities like Kante, at least test the keeper. And you got to give them credit. They put in some very good blocks. Cucurella, he did test the keeper, and you got to give him credit for that. But you're literally point blank range. You should have put the ball in the back of the net. But
not even drop it. They shouldn't have trapped it. They should have tried to pick it out.
Perhaps it's easier to say that now, but do you see my point of view? So I thought we could have been 2-1 up at halftime had they scored, their opportunity, which was wide open. I thought our first goal that we conceded, yes, everyone's going to be blaming our left centre back. However, Cucurella was sucked into that vacuum in midfield. He should never have gone up. If you look at the replay, it was horrible. They put him on one-on-one with Chalobah with him. And yes, he should not have gone in for that tackle either. So it was a myriad of defensive mistakes that led to the first goal conceding. But other than that, I thought we played very well. In the chat group, was speaking with V. I disagree with him respectfully, but I'm pleased with. Listen, I'm not pleased with the fact we lost. So please don't anyone take that out of context. I'm pleased with how we performed, not how we executed the final stages, like scoring and the poor crossing. But other than that, I thought we played well. I thought Frank did well. I actually didn't think that it would work as well as it did, and it did. I have a feeling Real Madrid...
Which was why I said, I think when we see the application, that's when we get to understand what he had in mind.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just want to say one other thing. I think possibly Real Madrid respected us too much. And let's be honest, they have been playing quite poorly. You have a look at Benzema, one of the best number 9s in the world. He had a poor game. Actually, most of them had a poor game. They are not informed, coach. They are not playing well. And
they're not informed, but the man in charge himself is a tactical mastermind, because you could argue tactics won it for them.
Yeah, yes or no, because this is where I disagree fundamentally. Tactics can put players in positions to succeed. Do we agree on that? However, when the players are put in position and they can't hit the target, then you can't blame, as I said, do you blame England's manager for Kane missing the penalty? No, you can't. It's about execution. When it comes to executing, like missing a 1-foot putt, you can't blame the putting coach. You have to blame the golfer himself. Does that make sense? I thought the manager didn't put us in a position to lose. I think, if anything, I thought we were the better team in the first half, and even 60 minutes. Does that make sense? So
I okay.
Just give me a second. I'll come to
yeah, of
you.
course,
I'll come to you. JC. Let me
JC.
just catch up with a bit here. Like I said, Coach, I was expecting another loss. Kind of embarrassing overall with the amount popped in. I know Lampard will look for the positives. Say we started on a front foot, etc. But the result is the same.
Yeah,
My friend here, Lolo, I don't speak emoji. I'm trying to grasp what you mean by that. I'm not sure when we were back in the Champions League again. Nobody is sure. It's there's no telling what will happen. Up to Chelsea, we move, guys. Let's finish the season strong. It's hard to see how we finish this season strong with four losses in a row. That can hit the players' confidence so badly that whatever team we play, even if we play with against the worst team in the league, they believe they will come with the belief that they can get something out of a game against us, and belief can help you move mountains. When you miss all these clear chances, you are always gonna lose. We need a change somewhere, whether mentally or buying strikers. I think, like Roger will always say, it's a myriad of issues. Big up Kachila and everyone in the chat. Big up to you too. Up the chest. We'll move on. We're not gonna, go bury ourselves because of this game. We fans feel disappointed and sad because our favorite club is not doing well. Lampard should have studied first to be an assistant like Ateta. You are a legend, but don't worry about Chelsea. I am, as much as I have questions with regards to him being hired as the interim managers, I'm not going to blame him. The whole thing falls on the owners. At least this time, I'm going to start blaming the owners.
Executives.
Yeah, our executives. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kachila, go ahead.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, since January, I believe most of the decisions, if not all of them, have been made by these executives. So
Okay.
I think we need to stop saying that the owners.
All right, let me catch up with the chat and bring in JC because he's waiting. Kachila
Sure.
was written in the stars. Bali and Co should be very proud. Okay, the disgrace. Let's see. It's not the title we need, but we miss the figure of a smart coach. A good game to look at. Wow. I heard Lams was brought in specifically for these two legs. No, I think mainly to appease to please the fans.
Fan base,
yeah, it was a PR hiring. Some fights in the second leg and playing for some pride. And the shot 0-4 loss is not good enough in the grand. It's not at all. Enrique literally begged Paulie. If that is true, then they made another mistake, another huge mistake. Roman Abramovich would take that opportunity to hire an elite manager because he sees this as an opportunity to win the Champions League. Begged for those two games so he could slap Ancelotti, but they didn't listen. If that's the truth, Lampard should want to study first. You said that before, and I've read it. Would Chelsea be a club with a big name, but drowned in history and memories? I think we will overcome, but it's going to be really, really painful. Probably will take even more time than we think it would take. Thierry Henry described us as on NBC that Chelsea not a big club at the moment, and I don't blame him for that. We played well. That's what worries me because the same thing happened. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. Substitutions are always too late. Frank's reaction time is so slow. Like I said, Roger, if you remember when I said the second half is not going to be the same. Ancelotti is a seasoned tactician. Jorba said he doesn't recognize the club. That's really bad, coach. Yeah, which means they're not. They're concerned, really. If the answer is 30 years, what is the question? I'm not sure. Heartbreaking, devastating. One, the sanctions. Two, the new owners. Three, 600 million. Four, Potter, Lampard. 5, 11th at 39 points. What's next? A relegation? It is concerning. So for you, JC, what went wrong? What would you say went wrong in this game?
Well, let me start with first thing. What went good?
Mm.
And it's not a rocket science. It was nothing extraordinary. When you pack up the whole midfield with all kind of midfielders, that's the only part of the game you want to control. We looked well there. but other than that, I mean, the pitch is longer than that, huh? And you have to perform on the other parts. And I don't think Chelsea were present in the other edges. I mean, there was another good thing I saw. We found a weakness, kind of noticed in on the right flank, because Vinicius is always bombing.
Are you there? JC, are you still there? Oh, okay, it looks like we lost him. Let's get to this one. Sacking, it says sacking TT for Potter, sacking Potter for Lampard. 4 games, 0 draw, 0 wins, 4 losses. That is concerning to me, and I feared for that. I feared because the more losses we get, the more again the confidence of the players. It's not going to be anywhere that will help us get even a single win in the upcoming games, if that makes sense. Keshan, if you're there, you can come in. It looks like JC is having a connection issue. Keshan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, so you go ahead. What do you make of the game? What went wrong? Let's start from there. What went wrong, really? Before we look at the stats.
It's the same. I come here every time, every week. It's the same thing. We cannot, no end product whatsoever. No end product at all. It's just disgusting. Why is Conte the guy that's like taking the attempts for us? Like, why? I don't know. It's just tiring. It's frustrating, man. We played right into Real Madrid's hands. They didn't have to score. They knew they didn't have to do anything up front. Benzema didn't have a good game. He wasn't worried about that. And then in the second half, when they're like, all right, let's start trying to create some offense, they scored 2 easy goals. Rodrigo walked in the goal.
They could have scored 4 in total.
They could have. They didn't need to. They're like Chelsea's not gonna score. There's no goal threat. So why bother? Why waste our energy?
I totally concur.
That's that on its own. When you say it's a strategy too, because Carlo is experienced enough, knowing that we'll be running so much because we want goal, and he didn't. They didn't do too. Real Madrid didn't do too much running in the first half. It was the second half, towards the end of the game, actually, that you started to see them moving. It's a strategy, and it worked. What do you think, Roger?
Listen, I'm going to be really honest with you. Who's the better coach? I'm going to ask a question, and then I want you to answer it. Who's the better coach, Ancelotti or Frank Lampard?
Wow, I think I need to call for help.
Yeah, I think you should get a second opinion. No, seriously, obviously, it's Ancelotti by a landslide. We all agree.
But I love the way you put that. Go ahead.
And you understand? And yet, Frank Lampard's beaten Ancelotti 4-0 before. Why is that, coach? Was it because Frank Lampard outsmarted him, out formationed him? No, it's because of bloody execution on the field. A coach gets way too much blame for losing and way too much credit for winning.
Okay,
Roger, let's move beyond that.
All these analogies and all.
Hold on.
We are discussing
Roger, go ahead.
Let me drop because this is what I'm saying. You're putting too much into this, and I will listen. I'm being honest with you. It's like what happens if Ancelotti was our manager and Frank was their manager? You know, do you think that our players would be scoring 5-6 goals? We have one player.
Football is bigger than that, Roger.
Yeah, I know that.
Can you let him drop. Let him drop. Go ahead.
You cannot compare apples with bananas. Huh?
No, well, you know what? He beat him 4-0 before, so don't tell me that.
Roger, go ahead, make your point. Roger, make your point. Please, let's talk one by one. Make your point, Roger.
Because this backs up my point that players play, coaches coach. Because it's not Ancelotti. Sorry, Ancelotti.
Football works when everything is working in harmony.
Yes, I know, but also executing. So what? Listen.
Come on. Can you let him drop? You will come in once he drops.
JC, please let me drop. I don't do that to you, sir. Listen, Cucurella is inside the 6-yard box, and he missed it. Has that got anything to do with Frank or
exactly?
Sorry. No,
Yes.
it doesn't. It has to do with execution. Has to do with composure. That's my
Okay,
whole
I'll get
point.
my chance. I'll speak my
Yeah, sure.
Just let him finish. We don't have too much time for this particular show
and
right
then,
now. Just let him
listen,
drop. Go ahead.
V was right in the chat for me to criticize Mudryk because I really like him, and so this comes across as too critical, and I don't mean to be. But Mudryk is not composed. He's shooting. It's a beautiful rugby point conversion, yeah. But when you're shooting 10 yards over the crossbar, it doesn't even test the keeper on multiple occasions. This is what I'm trying to point out. And this will always be the case. I believe the manager put the players in positions to do well, and they did. They had opportunities, but they didn't execute. And can I ask you something, Coach? Have I not reiterated this time and time again since you've known me?
You have. This is why this is the show. We all can never agree, and we're here to come to a sensible conclusion as to what went wrong. So I get your point.
Hold on one second. It's not just my point of view, though, because when you listen to players that have played this game at the highest level and played in World Cups and have been international players, and they will all say, when I say all, I can give you a list of them that have spoken on BT, ESPN, Sky, BBC. They all say that you cannot blame a coach for lack of execution. That's on the player. So that's not just my humble opinion. These are people that have played at the highest level possible. So you have to understand, yes, I'm giving my opinion, but it's also reinforced by people that have played at the highest level. Sorry, sir?
Because I really need to go. So I was thinking
go
maybe
ahead.
if I get
finished.
5 minutes, I will quickly finish off.
Go ahead, Jesse. Please just go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is, like, we controlled midfield, but we didn't have anybody to execute the execution word. Yeah.
Sure.
Cucurella missed this, but Cucurella is not best positioned to score goals. He's not a goal scorer. He's a wing back. Okay. We did not have. Before the game, we all from
wing
previous game we saw. I didn't interrupt. Please let me finish. I will take not long. From previous game, we learned this formation has drawbacks. We need somebody to hold the ball. Havertz came in, very good. We needed runners alongside him. That's why in previous stream yesterday, we were discussing it would be really good to have somebody like Mount or Mudryk, runners alongside Havertz who can score goals. We didn't have them. We didn't have finishers there. We controlled midfield. Okay, very nice. Looks nice. Feels nice. But we didn't have the finishers. We didn't have the plan. There was a plan. There was a plan to exploit the right side where Reece plays. So because there is space there, and he did made good crosses there. So that was a good plan. But we still lacked executioners. We also know Real Madrid starts slow because they are intelligent. Everyone is intelligent. It's like a well-oiled machine. They figure out how what's the plan of the game, how the opponent team is playing. They take their time. They move the ball around. They look for loopholes, and then they finish the teams off. If you say the plan worked because in the first half we didn't concede, I don't think Real Madrid, when playing last season in Champions League or even in this season, they finish off teams in first 15, 20, 30 minutes. They figure out the other teams. So to be going totally ultra defensive negative, I mean, it was not necessary. The balance of the team was wrong. Execution, you make execution when you have the right players in the right places. The formation was wrong.
I beg to differ. By the way, you say that position isn't goal scoring. Alonso played in that. Alonso played in that position and scored.
Let me finish, please.
Now you want me to let you finish.
As for Mudryk and others you mentioned, the substitutions. The substitutions were made in the last 10 minutes. Havertz was removed. Nobody was holding the ball. The runs were different, and the game was totally changed. You cannot judge the game by those 10 minutes or individual players.
No, there wasn't the last 10 minutes.
Was wrong.
Look good on the eye. Just let him drop, Roger, so that we can move on, please.
But execution and the goal of the game was to score the goals when Real Madrid are most vulnerable, and we missed that.
We missed that.
You're incorrect, sir.
So overall, what do you think? What do you think, Jesse? What do you think is the problem? That's just in a minute or two. What do
The
you think
difference was like we were 2 goals down. We needed at least 1 goal, in the first half or early.
So
That
your
would have
overall
made it
argument
very
is
close
the approach was wrong.
because
Wow.
only one having only 1 goal cushion makes Real Madrid more cautious, even on counter attacks. Having 2 goals cushion makes them a little bit more bold, and in the second half they killed us.
Can I say something quickly? I want to refute what JC has respectfully stated. He's saying that
I refuse as
Cucurella
well.
is not a person to score goals. Well, that position is a wing back position, and you have people like James, you have people like Alonso that traditionally score. In this formation of 3-4-3, wing backs are required to score. So with all due
I will
respect,
explain you why I said that. And it was Cucurella there. It's the, positionally okay. Maybe he was exchanging places with Gallagher and swapping places. It was Gallagher who had to make the runs alongside Havertz.
no, I'm
But
talking about
neither
inside.
Cucurella nor Gallagher are
Thanks for letting me
better
finish.
finishers than Mount or Mudryk.
So JC, sir,
If
Wow.
I was given a chance to have Mount and Mudryk on those shots in place of Kante and Cucurella,
Mount doesn't play
I would
left
be happy
back.
to have both of them. It does not mean, I'm not saying that Kante shouldn't start. I'm saying is the formation
No, I agree.
was too much negative.
No. So I'm referring specifically to our best scoring possibility, chance, and that was Cucurella missing. And you're saying that position is not predicated on scoring, and I respectfully disagree because you have Reece James that can score. You
I've
have
not seen
formerly
the clip,
no.
how that movement happened and how Cucurella ended up there.
Yes, because
All right,
that's
let me move on. Otherwise, you two
Hey,
have a
coach.
knack for going back and forth,
What I'm
and
saying
another
is,
person on the panel will not speak.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes,
let me catch up with the chat. I'll bring in Dave in a bit. Dave, just give me 1 minute, please. The main problem with Chelsea is the board. How comes they want Nagelsmann because he has friends in the board? That I think that is you assuming that. And it's easy to believe that if anybody puts out there as an article or so, it's easy to read that and say, well, it makes sense because he's worked with some people who are on the Chelsea board. So I don't think I think at this point it's just assumption. And from what I've heard lately is that they don't have preference whether a Nagelsmann or Luis Enrique. They've scheduled talks with both of them individually. So the form entering into next season starts from this season. Arsenal form started last season. Likewise, Leicester City prior to winning the EPL. Bally being everywhere has to be stopped. Last year, Champions League game, like I said, it's over. This is not a coaching masterclass. They are a better team than us. Ancelotti didn't do anything special. I think his thing for me, if you can agree, what Frank, his approach worked, but the execution was poor, which means he could have made changes earlier to sort that out. I have to say that. I even put out a tweet saying,
I think Madrid was giving us chances. I just don't think they were worried about concerned about a goal scorer.
So I'm coming out. I'll come to you in a bit.
By the way, coach, he had players for 4 minutes standing on the sidelines, so he would have made them in the 63rd minute. Instead, it was the 67th minute. It wasn't
that's what I'm saying.
It wasn't the last
minute. The lineup had to be different.
Yeah,
so I'm coming out because
minute.
He could have seen that. Yeah, we were playing well, but the execution was poor. Making a change earlier, because sometimes when you bring a player that late in the game, some players who are not happy not to have started, I don't think they will give it their all. But I'll get to you in a bit. Really? Dave, just give me a few minutes. I am tired of Chelsea and football in general. Didier Drogba insulted Todd Boehly. I wouldn't say he insulted him. He spoke his mind. It's up to Boehly to say it however he wants it. Ancelotti has way more years and wisdom on Lampard, just like Roger asked that question, and he asked it in a very funny way, and I like that. But I knew why he asked that question. Yeah. Cinderella and Lupo says, Ogbeni, no, Tony, that's the Yoruba I can speak for now. Let's see, Cinderella. What else do we have here? Drogba. Yep, somebody have told us that it's no longer the same club. There's a new owner. and a new vision. Of course, we try to compare it with what happened during the Roman Abramovich era, where a lot of Chelsea perspective. Yeah, I thank you. I understand what he meant by that. But let's see, players were brought in but the decisions were very intelligent. I'm not sure I understand that one. Paulie is out to eat instead. For the first time, I have to say I agree with him. I agree with you. Ancelotti will not get more goals out of this bunch. Look at that front three. Okay. Vini, Rodrigo cost Real Madrid 60 million both. Okay. This is why Middle East owned clubs to better. They don't put up with these BS models. Okay, I get it. I don't blame the who. Chino is saying I don't blame the coach or the players, the owners. Like I said, yeah, I think I am with you. At this point, I'll stop blaming the owners. It's all their fault. Yep, I've read that too. Thank you for providing us with that. Even Jesus cannot get goals out of these players. Wow, that's extreme, really. Let's see what else we have here. Joba is no longer the same club. Yep, we've talked about that in a bit. Yeah, thank you so much, Santiago, for providing us that. We did talk about that in the morning. A lot has changed. Hopefully, the learning and do the right thing. We are the Chelseaiest of them all. We buy refurbished players, we overpay, and we get lost in a blink matter. It is concerning. Let's see what else we have here. To my bro, the Added Time podcast. If you're watching, if you haven't, go check out his channel. Make sure to subscribe. Bro, share the link to your channel so people can go check it out. You're a mod. No surprise, the players disappointed. Subs were late. No striker to help overcome 2 goals. And maybe it wouldn't have helped much, but we needed a striker. And if only Alba was in the Champions League squad, he would have made a difference, really. Droba just implied that Chelsea new owners' decisions were unintelligent. I mean, it's open to interpretation. Chelsea fans' protest is starting soon. Y'all all giving Madrid and Ancelotti way too much credit. We are, whatever you say, we are there. Thank you for saying that. I think Chelsea's president is not businessman, but he knows Lampard is a young man. He cannot. Okay. Just that's by the way. It says why did Art Fofana to the Champions League? I don't know. Gallagher trying to fit Kante and say everything you need to know. Frank, whatever you call him there, and it's you that said it, not me. Southampton over 2 legs. Give Real a better game. Okay, I get it. Oh, let me come to you, Dave. Your turn. What do you think went wrong?
Yes. I just want to start with, we trophy fans always, I say trophy. We Chelsea fans always see as trophies. Trophies. And then we keep forgetting the differences between us and a certain club. The big difference between us and Real Madrid is this. How long has Ancelotti been in Real Madrid for? And then you realize he's been there for 3 years. Now, how long was the last time us Chelsea have a coach for 3 years ever since we signed these new players?
1972.
Exactly. Like we need to see that our owners is trying to really give the best for our club. Yes, the decisions has been terrible, but the reality is these players are not being played the right way. Like one day they're in, and the next day they're not playing, and the next 2 months a new coach, and the next 3 months fans are batching our players, and it's just like it's a whole mess. The same thing with City. Look at how long City has had the managers for. Look how long Liverpool's had the managers for. And now Chelsea, we find ourselves in the real trenches. That whenever we find ourselves in the, with our back against the wall, we hire a new coach just to win us the Champions League. Now this is not working no more. Now we need ourselves a proper coach who's going to coach the team. And that's the reason why Todd Bowley doesn't want to rush to just hire any type of coach. Because it seems to me like maybe this coach are just UEFA Champions League thirsty, because after they win the Champions League, what if they quit? Then what? So, I remember Todd Bowley saying he wants a coach who's going to coach, and also bring the academy into the champion, the first 11 team. That means he's looking for a long-term coach who's going to bring in success. Now, as for today's game, is part of also the reasons why our team like Chelsea is not performing, because there's too many changes each and every time. They're not getting coached. Look at Vinicius Jr. His first year in Real Madrid. Him and Benzema was about to fight. He was calling him. Benzema was calling him a headless chicken who's just running, playing.
Also, swore on his mom that he was playing against them.
You guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you. I said,
Yeah.
Benzema also swore with the name of his
Breaking up.
mom
You
that
guys hear me?
Vinicius was playing against them.
Right. So everything takes process. When was the last time we had a starting 11 who's played 11 games or even 15 games without no type of changes? Every 3 games we change players in our positions and so much. What Frank Lampard started today for me was spot on, because that's what we could give. That's what the players that we had. If somebody's thinking about like, oh, you cannot bring in Pulisic and this and that, even if he brought them in there, you think Pulisic would have pressed like Gallagher was pressing? And then if Pulisic didn't perform, all of a sudden, why did we bring in Mason Mount? If Mason Mount didn't perform, those same fans would switch. Why did we bring somebody else? Like, why did we bring
As
Mendy?
Roger would say, you're damned if you do,
Yep.
you're damned if you don't.
It's the truth.
So my
though.
whole point is like,
I hope you start talking like Roger very soon.
man, I
Go
just
ahead.
want to say, we're in a position now, we have nothing to play for. Chelsea fans, it's time for we to sit down and let's support the players.
But I want you to state specifically why you think we lost the game today.
Well, for me, we lost the game. I would say Real Madrid was still good to begin with. They knew to be calm. They knew to move the ball. I'm pretty sure if Chelsea would have scored 1, the Real Madrid would have gone to Super Saiyan 6 on that game and make sure they score 4 on us. That substitute that Frank Lampard did you guys see? We was not impressing no more. So what does that tell you? That those same substitute that he made, if they were starting, I don't think we would have had a first half like this one, like today's game. So we lost the game without Cucurella's mistake. I don't know if it was a mistake if the coach told him to press. You pressing with 2 wide players in front of you.
Oh, even you can say even what's his name? The central defender Chalobah, and also no, Chalobah didn't play centrally, I know, but even Chalobah and what's his name also the guy that plays centrally, Fofana, was also pressing. And right center back was also pressing so high. You
So
think he was
high.
So was
playing Reese's position. He so was Cucurella and all of them, but Cucurella is in the wing back position, so that's why I wouldn't actually blame him that much, really.
Yeah, but
Because
Cucurella goes on walkabouts, doesn't he? Historically, I mean,
that's why we call him a sweeper defender. And sometimes he walks, and you remember me saying, if the Real Madrid, Ancelotti is capable of reading the game so that they're going to exploit that, and they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's, by the way, just give me a few seconds here. Absolute tactical failure. Let me ask you this. I know Roger will always find a way to making me believe it wasn't a tactical failure.
I didn't see today as. I thought we exceeded my expectations. I'm being honest with you.
But tactics is a different thing altogether. If we're bringing it to the board, we played well, especially in the first half. We were the better team overall in the first half. They only played on the counter. But remember, when the first half ended, I specifically said to you, said to people in the group, that the second half we wouldn't get that many chances. Maybe we got a few, but they got the better chances. They came swinging in the second half better than they did in the second half. So to me, it's tactics. No, I wouldn't say tactics failure. I think they outsmarted us tactically.
Well, no, because
But go ahead.
because they knew we had to come out and start getting goals. Do you understand? If it was a 0-0 game in the first leg, then that wouldn't be the case. You know, we had to go and score goals. Do you understand? You have to press for them, as they say. So they, knowing that, being our opposition knows that, then they have a comfort zone in that reality, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure whether you could call that scheming. It's just a matter of reality, you know, because mathematics adds up. We have to get a minimum of 2 goals to put it into extra time / penalties. So the game was going to be more stretched as time wore on. I thought the first 60 minutes until they scored, I thought you can unbiasedly state that we were the better of the two teams for the most part. Now, you can say they deserve to score also. I forgot who missed it. It came off his shin in the first half. So if we took our chances and they took theirs, we'd be 2-1 up. I'm not saying that they didn't, but and I get the conversation about maybe having too many midfielders and so forth, but if you don't, they run the shop. Mudryk and so forth, and Cruz, they know how to dominate midfield. Having said that, if you look throughout this season, and I know a lot of these younger players like Felix, like Mudryk, hasn't been with us for many years. They've been with us for 10, 12 games, however many it is. And, so what little opportunities have had, they haven't exactly been clinical. But then again, in your argument's defense, I will grant you it's not long enough data to extrapolate to be given a fair enough sampling size. So I understand that, and that has some validity to it. But having said that, I think regardless of who we have on the pitch, we are not sacrificing these big goal scoring opportunity or goal scorers and going with the defensive approach. You can basically say across the board, with the exception of Havertz, we don't have humongous goal scorers. We just don't. Maybe they will turn into goal scorers in the future, but not currently.
Coach, I don't think Lampard can be called a tactical failure. He's been here for 7 days or 10 days. So,
I give you credit for that.
Like
I was thinking, given your argument, JC, I was expecting JC to say, I agree it was a tactical failure. I wouldn't call it tactical failure. I would say tactically we were outsmarted because Real Madrid, they were in a hurry in the first half. They weren't. It's a tactical approach. They weren't doing too much running in the first half. Those that did the running for them in the first half were only those on the flanks. Those in the middle and the back line, they weren't too much in a hurry. Because they let us, and it's a tactics. They let us come at them. Yeah, go ahead.
That's how Real Madrid play. They figure you out and then they kill you. And tactically, I mean, okay, we were pressing high, but we do have big squad. We have players who can press well and still have better probability of scoring goals. I mean, Mount is very much in that mold. So it was indeed a more defensive starting lineup, and it was a time when we should have had goal scorers in there because Real Madrid take their time to figure out the match and game and how it is going, and they concede more in the first half. They finish you off in the second half. But I don't blame Lampard. He's been here for 7 days. Come on, I mean that's understandable.
Yeah, I think that's I like that. That's an objective argument from you, and I like that. I'm gonna catch up with the chat, and then Roger, if you're still here, I'll hand up to you. I have to go pick up my boy from school. Too much deadwood still playing. I don't think we have too many deadwood now. I don't think so. If anything, we have a lot of. We have a brand new team practically. Can Kante and Silva stay fit till age 40 to save us? I think Kante, he looks leaner than I've ever seen him before. He looks fitter than I've ever seen him before, and that's a good thing. But he's still lacking match. He's still lacking match fit. Yeah, he's still lacking match fitness, and that's a different thing altogether. Bally does not want a coach; he wants a yes man. Is he gonna stay out of the dressing room? And Eddie just shared something with me that the Todd Bally and Behadi Gali are going to the dressing room. It may well be to tell them good fighting today. We didn't win, but at least we saw the spirit we want to see. I'm not buying another ticket until I see.
Does him going in the dressing room bother you guys?
I think it does. It depends on the manager, but it's a good thing Frank Lampard spoke publicly that it doesn't matter to him. It's not a bad thing. I would rather him go to the training ground if he wants to speak with them. Bad tactics has nothing to do with missing the easy one-on-one. I think that's a solid argument too on its own. Just give me a few minutes here. Lampard is finished. I am sorry, but I seriously doubt he will ever become a coach. Let's see what happens. Never say never. He's still alive, and I hope he lives a long life. If he gets a chance and start doing well, fine. There's only there's playing well and starting with a lineup that will not give you goals. So This is on Frank. Some argument right there. I don't get why Felix was prioritized over several players we signed permanently. Prioritize? I'm not sure what you're trying to say. That we haven't signed him already, and I think we needed a solution when we got him on loan, and he was the easier to get for us. Sorry, meant clean nut screen. Okay, thank you. Just imagine, Bolly. I cannot tell the club for 10 years I am going to stop watching soccer and start watching. Okay, Havertz is too. Wow, I wouldn't use the term stupid. Just say he's not a striker. All of them are deadwood because of what happened right now. I think there are issues around. It's not just about the players. It's not just about the managers. It's a myriad of reasons. Starting like Bobby will always tell you, it's the government. Yep, they played their part. Then we lost one of the best owners we will ever have, because for him it wasn't about the profit. It was about achieving success. We got new owners. We were hoping for them to start work. They made a very, very serious mistake by firing Thomas Tuchel. You could say the whole issues with face after the firing of Thomas Tuchel is down to him, being fired. Again, that's my opinion. I have to say that a dead fish has better tactics than Lampard. Wow, Cuckoo bad decision making is why we lost, not because of Madrid tactics. I disagree with that. I don't think we lost down. We were 2 goals down, and we considered 2 goals extra. It's easy to start finger pointing. Roger, I don't know if you still have time. I have to go pick up my boys, but I want to look at the stats here. But if you don't, if you can, let's just let me know. We could just call it a day. Looking at the stats here, let's look at the stats quickly. 1.86 are expected goals. That's XG. 1.48. We're better if we have total shots, 19 shots more than them. Big chances created 2. But to me, this big chances does speak. That's very important to me. They created 3 big chances and we created 2. Big chances missed. We missed 2. They missed 1.
The only difference is our big chances came first in the match for the most part, and that came out. Yeah, and as you know, goals change games, so it could have been a different. Could have, should have, would have, right?
Yeah, man, it's not looking good. Oh my goodness! Just look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just click on this. Let's see matches and see what happens.
Take our icons away so we can see the screen, sir.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, I'm just enjoying it and talking to you guys.
Yeah.
So let's go to matches here. It's not looking good. Maybe that's but if you want to fixtures, my mind is already out of the door. Fixtures here. So let's look at this from here. Where's our fixtures? I have to go back. Is that what it is? Yeah, I have to go back. Is that us? So look at from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses and a draw. And the other one is just 2-2 draw. So Roger, I'm gonna leave it hand over to you. You're in control. I'll be driving, so I can even help you to highlight the stuff here if you don't mind. So you drive the conversation, whatever you want to talk about.
Sure.
Do you want me to leave that screen or leave this one? Which one?
No, I think the other one with our fixtures isn't a bad indication. So gentlemen, it's Keyshawn, JC. You're here, yes? Who else is here?
I'm right here too. Francais Day.
So can I ask you something? I know because I lived in the West Coast for a while, but do you see a problem if owners enter the locker room?
With this current situation, depending on, I think about the situation and how things will go.
Sure. Yeah.
That is only why I think what he did was right. But if it was a different situation where Chelsea are doing great, they're winning, and it was just a random loss and he went in there, I just think to myself that was not necessary. But I think as an owner, with all that money he invested, and then he really wanted the Champions League so bad.
Because I know in basketball and in NFL, owners go in the locker room a lot. So, but in Europe, especially in Britain, owners hardly ever do that. It's kind of taboo. So I think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I feel like if we were winning and like everything was totally flipped, people were like, oh, Todd Bowley's so cool. Like he's hanging out with the players.
Yeah.
But you know,
I feel like none of this matters, honestly. People just
oh,
take what they hear, and
Yeah, I
it's
think
not like we
it's
know word
much
for
ado
word what
about
he's
nothing.
saying in there. Yeah.
for him to go in that locker room, and that means that locker room, and that means it's a bigger problem than Chelsea itself right now with these players. You know, because if you're an owner, you have to go to the locker room. That means there's something more than just what we're looking at that is going on. Because if I own a football club and I have to go to the locker room, that means that's a big problem. That means the employees are not working or something, or the employees are,
I mean, we're
this is a
not
big
winning,
problem.
so I guess he wants to see for himself, like firsthand, what's going on.
Like he can't believe it himself.
Like
Like
it's
I
his
put so much money.
investments. He wants to make sure his investments are going to come through.
His assets.
He probably went in the
Yeah.
locker room again today looking for Raheem Sterling. Where you at?
There are two things here, you know. I
Sterling
mean,
was probably hiding behind the towels basket or something. Like he was trying to duck Bowley.
you know,
Yep,
there
for
are
sure.
two things there. If the owners are going once in a while, that's fine for everybody, I suppose. But if they are going very regularly, that creates doubts. I mean, are they too much interfering? Because here's the thing. I mean, the culturally, I mean, going there in the room or not is not so important. What's more important is how much they are interfering in the manager's process. So if once in a while, okay, manager will be also fine. But if they are intervening a lot and coming in a lot of times, that's a cause of concern, because coach has his job, they have their job, everybody has their own job, you know.
Yeah.
So if as a physical aspect entering that room, I don't think it is important. What's more important is what's behind deep meaning in that, and that's it. Like if you are interfering into the coach's area or scope of influence and work once in a while, okay. But if you're doing it very regularly, is it just entering the room, or it is like also intervening in whatever coach is trying to do? That should not be happening. I
I
hope
want to.
it's not the case.
Yeah, that's a
What
valid
if
point. Yeah.
what if is because Frank Lampard told the coach the players won't listen.
I
so
don't think he'll
so
say
he
that.
decided to, like, you know what, I'll go there myself.
You'd be sacked that evening, mate.
Oh,
So,
no, I mean,
Man.
if there are such players, they go to the reserves team. They train separate.
yeah. Can I mention something about the game? If I like, I'd just like to mention two players that to me stuck out in a positive way, and I thought that was Kovacic and Kai. I thought Kai brought down the ball. He held up the ball well. He linked up play well, and I thought Kova ran the show in the first half. I thought he was the link up between, the defensive line and also the forwards. I thought he stood out. I thought he had one of the best games I've seen him have in ages for a Chelsea player. What do you think? Do you agree with that or no?
Kova and Enzo worked in harmony very well,
Yes,
very
yes.
well. And Kante was pushed a little bit further there.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, Kova did very well, and I mean, in the midfield we controlled the game for the first half, and normally Real Madrid would start having influence on the game after 20 minutes, but we rattled them in the first half. So until like the first half, totally it was like it was like a battle of midfields, but with no how
End
to say
product.
no finishing touch, you know,
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no
for me,
so
yes.
so,
As for
and
me,
in the halftime, okay, King Carlo does his job, explains few things, makes small adjustments, players figure it out, and they play behind the press, and Chilwell is exposed, and they score the goal. They killed it. So the easiest part would be to say, okay, individual performances of players, but as a harmony, I think we missed a plot there, in the sense like we should have attacked them from the start. In the sense, not just pressing, but finishing. We should have had. I mean, it would have made a big difference if we had Gallagher pressed well, he ran well, but I think Mount also does that same thing.
Yeah,
With
no, I
Mount,
get
he
it.
can get more goals.
Question is he fit though for 90 minutes right now?
Oh yeah, yeah. I beg you, if he was not fit, he should be starting previous last game. He should
Well,
have been. He should have been given minutes.
well, actually, for me, I think Kovacic, right? It was good, but for me, that style is what that has to go though, and I will explain why. That
Sure.
style of Kovacic, the way he plays, it's been there since like when 2016 or something, and he's still in the club in 2023. Like the midfield generation has changed, and this is the reason why you see teams like City and Real Madrid, the midfields cook now. Now they're really playing the midfield game. Midfields are supposed to cook and create chances. But as for Kovacic, if you look at the way he plays, take the ball, runs, and pass it to the midfield. Oh, no, I mean, pass it to the right wing or pass it
Yeah.
to the striker. Instead of get the ball, create, and probably penetrate the defense for our striker to score a goal, if you get what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
how many times in a game do you see Kovacic put himself in a dangerous position to shoot? He doesn't do that. Instead, he gets the ball and then he shifts to the wing backs and pass the ball to the left wingers,
You're
Let
never
or
me
he
gonna
ask
pass
you
the ball
this:
to the left wing backs.
you're
Like
never gonna
that's
confuse Kovacic for Frank Lampard. This guy
but
Kovacic has many good attributes, but however, shooting and scoring is not one of them. Sorry,
yeah.
JC,
So
continue. Yeah.
I wanted to say, like, for his type of being a midfield, it's not what we need. Now we need different type of midfield.
let me ask you this. I mean, hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hello, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
So let me ask you this. Kova usually plays a little bit deeper to be making passes to open up the defense. I mean, he's a little bit further from that line. Don't you think that that duty should be for the midfielder who's in front of him, for example, Gallagher or somewhere? Because all those three up front there, they should be having movements and
But look,
creating amongst themselves.
the reason why I say his style has to go is because of this. It's not. I know it's not just me, but when Enzo Fernandez has the ball in front of the goalkeeper box, do y'all sense that he's about to shoot, or he's about to create probably a little chip for one of our strikers to score it? You can sense that Enzo Fernandez with the ball. There's danger coming for the opposition compared to when Kovacic has the ball. You already know that he about to pass it to the a right wing back or a left wing back. So that's what I'm saying is like, yes, he could carry the ball forward, but he's old type of.
But didn't he do the same as Enzo does? Enzo has a eye for the pass. I understand when he's on the top, and in certain against certain teams, you will be able to do that if you are really upfront. But with a team like Real Madrid, you are pressed, and then we are playing three at the back. So our wing backs are much more further as well. So a lot of in back three, a lot of these movements and crosses and creativity also comes from the wingbacks positions and opening up the defense and making crosses or stretching the defense.
And that's because of the style of play, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe that you're saying because we're playing at back three, and the reason
yeah.
why we're playing at back three is because that's when it fits him to carry the ball forward for whatever reason. But we've had that style for years now. We've bring in new players who've played with creative midfields. Like Modric was not playing a back three all the time. In where he's coming from. We
You
I could
mentioned somebody like Fabregas, yeah. But if you remember, when we went to back three, even Fabregas was sitting on the bench a lot of times. He had to prove that he can play up front and he can create, because back three is little bit a different kind of role for the midfielders who are sitting in front of the defense and and they can break the lines. But I mean, to be giving that killer pass, I think they are a little bit far from that.
But look,
Hey,
look.
gentlemen, can I just ask just
Yeah.
to hold that thought for 1 second?
All right.
I just want to read some from the comments section. So the beautiful game says, Coach Todd Bailey clearly likes the smell of a dressing room. Football socks, soiled shorts, and the muddy boots. The guy has a locker room fetish. Very funny. Thorsten Mole states Havertz was never a striker. He plays behind a number 9, and as we have seen against Dortmund, is a baller if he faces the goal. That's a good point, and he does that for Germany also as a second striker. And Otis says it's all about time he learns how to get used to. I'm not sure what he means by that. When Potter did, he put man of the match performances in. I'm not sure who Thorsten is telling me. Felix is more of a striker, but he can't finish either. Thus far, I think that's a valid point, but I get it. So the All Sports fan Adam states, protest march for Roman to be reinstated. Every human being can make a difference, saying it won't happen, surely. But if everyone in the alphabet from Andorra to Zambia protest, the world would change. I don't think that's quite going to transpire. Otis Maxwell states, you should take Havertz home with you guys. Can't see what about this guy you like so much. Well, I like him. I think he adds a lot of positive attributes when used correctly, obviously. Let's stroll a little bit further down here.
Roger, just on this point, if you compare this game with the previous game in Madrid, where we did not have Havertz, and we were totally blunt up front. There was nobody able to hold the ball, bring the other team up, and move the line like
he links play well, doesn't he?
Yeah, and Havertz did that very well in the last 10 minutes of that game and in today's game. He really brings along other members.
No, I agree. I like him immensely. I rate him. I'm a big Kai fan. All Sports fan Adam states, play the youth like Mudryk, Madueke, and Chukwuemeka till the end of the season. Felix and Zakaria aren't going to be signed. No point making any more expensive or pointless mistakes. That has some validity to it, and I get it. I would like to see our youth play for the rest of the remaining season, but I don't think Frank will do that, in my opinion.
No, don't listen to those guys. They're setting us up to get relegated.
Yeah, it takes time to
I know it
bleed
takes
in
time, but now this position, like, let's at least get 40 points or 45. Then we would do what the same.
Yeah, I agree.
For whatever reason. But
and then Thorsten Mole says, give me a better front player at our disposal and back it up with facts. Okay, so just use the season understanding who should stay and who should go for next season. That's a good point. That's a really good point. I think there's a lot. I think there's hardly any bad apples in the locker room per se. Ziyech is frustrated, and I get it, but there's going to have to be 5 to 7 players that will depart eventually. Pitbull 13 states, when Enzo was gone, I thought it was a terrible change. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But someone has to come off the pitch, I guess. And listen, he's been fatigued quite lately, and he's played every game thus since he's arrived. And, you have to take that into consideration. He's probably got, sea legs right now. And Neri Horsford says, this stream has more intensity than the Chelsea team. That's cold. That's really cold. So, okay, back to what you chaps were talking about. Good discussion. Does anyone want to talk about any certain player they wish to talk about?
I think we have very good squad, but it's too large a squad.
It's huge.
And once the new manager comes in, then he will pick and choose, and he will have his own style of play, and then he will probably streamline the team. It does not mean that individually players can be good, but it's not necessary that they will fit into the new system which new coach comes up with or something. So there will be changes, and definitely there will be more players going out than coming in because
I hope so. So can I ask you, what did you think of Fofana tonight? I'll start going through each line. What did you think of, for instance, Fofana as a player tonight?
Lampard tried to use the space behind Vinicius Junior, and Reece James was not fit enough. He was playing there, but he was slow, and I think he's still struggling and recovering from his injury. So it was a big injury for him. And Fofana really swapped and ran up and interchanged positions. So Fofana did put in quite a serious shift there. He really ran his socks off. So kudos to him. Yeah, he was good. He was good.
What do you think, Keyshawn? Keyshawn, are you there? Is it just
No,
JC and I?
Yeah, it seems so.
Who else is on there? I think there's someone else with us also. I can't see because it's behind the banner. I guess
No, it's just like we had a good game, but
we could have. Did
only
you?
until I would say the midfield, where the midfield boundary ends, and where the real thing, because there we did not have like ruthless or you say specialist goal
Yeah.
scorers there.
Did the performance exceed your expectations coming into the game prior to it starting?
Yeah, I think I was thinking like Real Madrid will give us 20 minutes and we will be fine.
Yeah.
After that, they will start to pick pockets and like find holes. But we managed to push them until the half time, and you could see like they are coming into the game, but we were fighting and it was going good. But okay, I mean, second half they really just finished us off, and in the first half also, I mean, I still think, I mean, it's a pity we didn't have more seasoned goal scorers, you know. So
Can I ask you, what did you think about choosing Sterling over Pulisic for coming on? Did you agree with that?
I would have had Mount there. None of those two.
Yeah.
Because our first half was all about pressing, and Sterling, he's new to the system, you know. I mean, Mount has played for ages in this back three, so probably,
Man, everybody's was new to that system.
yeah.
For real.
I'm sorry,
Let's
who's
be honest.
speaking again? It's not Keyshawn. Who am I listening? Is it Dave?
It's Dave, yes.
Dave, sorry, Dave. So Dave, what did you think about Fofana and also Sterling starting ahead of Pulisic or anyone else for that matter? What did you think of the subs and anyone specifically?
Well, I'm taking it back to the interview. For example, said the players are not giving enough. They lack what's it called? Fitness. They lack fitness and physicality. And then when you watch this game, right, the first half, when you see that amount of time that they pressed, oh my goodness, like they look fit to me. You know what I'm saying? So you could tell like the plan that Frank Lampard had was to put in players that he knows that will press, will play, and will throw that feet to even like risk injury or something. Even though Kai Havertz was not really pressing, but because of Gallagher behind him and N'Golo Kante and Fernandez, all that pressing together, these guys are running machines. So it makes sense to me why Sterling and Pulisic and these guys were benched, because now it turns the tables on them, and now it exposes them that these guys do not press. These guys have a limit or something, or they're not, fit. Figure what I'm trying to say. Because when Frank Lampard did that substitute, you could tell that the pressing stopped. It just stopped right there. And I even said in the group chat, what's going on? And somebody replied and said, they are
It was
tired. I'm like,
telling. It was
yes.
telling, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then there was, someone said, oh, the players are tired. But I'm like, that's sub. These guys came out the bench. You
Yeah.
guys supposed to attack. How are you tired? You came out
If
the
you're
bench.
tired from being a sub, then you need to get a physical done.
Exactly. So that's the reason why players like Pulisic, Sterling, and these guys are not playing, because that pressing is poor. Did you see the run that Mudryk did to recover that ball to help Chalobah?
that was actually one of the highlights for us, in my opinion.
Do you believe that Pulisic would do that? Like win actually the ball? Let's
I
be
doubt
honest here.
it. No, I doubt
Absolutely
it.
not. He would just
Yeah,
leave Chalobah and get Chalobah embarrassed.
yeah.
Same as Sterling or something.
That play stood out. Actually, I'm really glad you mentioned that, Dave. That play stood out, and also I thought Felix's run with the ball, no final end
Right.
product with it, but that was a thing of beauty. But those are the
So
two plays to me that stuck out from a Chelsea
so it's like
perspective.
the run and the recovery that Modric did. Chalobah and Vinicius were like
Saved us a goal.
right. They were like 2 minutes ahead, but he caught up to recover and help Chalobah.
Yeah,
And even right after that, when the ball went back for chances created, that same player that just sprint all the way to the back, he's the same player that kicked that shot that went over the fan base or something. So that's to tell you like that is the amount of energy that we need. Even for Modric to hear Frank Lampard saying the players lack physicality and he's reacting like this, he's giving the reasons why he deserved to play.
yeah.
Because he was a left wing back, for God's sake. Left
No, I
wing
agree.
back. Right.
Listen, I'm going to read. We're going to round off the show now, but I'm just going to read a few more comments, and then I would like to come back to you, chaps, for your final thoughts, if that's okay with you. Thorsten Mole reads, "Fofana is going to be a future defensive beast." I hope that's the case, and I pretty much agree with that. He also says we overcrowded the midfield to stop Madrid, but sacrificed goal threat. I think there's a lot of validity to that, also, Thorsten. Douglas and Dumbo states that problem Chelsea board meet is poor to think because Lampard is not the coach. Lampard is a player like Messi, so not comprehending too much. So I think what he's trying to say is basically that Lampard was a better coach, a better player than a coach, and doesn't fit that mold. Thorsten also says Pulisic isn't good enough. Instead, he just wanted to move back to London. Yeah, maybe. Good run from Felix, but dreadful final ball. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's a fair assumption. And Eugene says, "Big up, everyone." And he states, "Without COVID today, the balance would not exist because Enzo, the poster boy, isn't worth 120 million." Just saying for this guy who speaks before who doesn't understand. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but All Sports Adam states, "I thought Frank was going to go in and tear it up. Turns out he continued with the same old cycled garbage. Like normally, there's at least some kind of energy shift, but if anything, it's got worse." I mean, I get what you're saying, so I understand. Gentlemen, thank you very much for all your comments, by the way. Coach and I and everyone else, we do appreciate it because you're a very much important part of the show. So, gentlemen, in no particular order, shall I go with JC first? Your final thoughts about what transpired tonight?
Uh, I think, I mean, we expected this game to go like that, and
Yeah,
what I would take from this game is like I feel like Lampard being there until the end of the season, he is starting to figure out, and he's starting to make some plans and do some things. Some part of it is lacks still desired for, but other things he's starting to get things proper as well. And by until the end of the season, we will get those 3 points and we will be safe, and then he can just enjoy. And maybe we put in some good performances and enjoy the football. The season is over, unfortunately, and we won't be in Europe for 1 year next year.
at
So,
least.
so, so we definitely can focus more on the domestic league in England, and hopefully we perform better there. So
Yeah, no, I
it's
agree. That's well said. And Dave, your final thoughts on tonight, sir?
Well, my final thoughts is now it's over. Like, it's finally over.
Yeah,
And we Chelsea fans, we spoil actually, or like I was saying, we always see is trophies. We used to sacking coaches and bringing in a new coach to save the season or something like that. But in reality, what we actually really, really needed is as a proper coach to coach the team. And as for we, the fans, we we batching our own players ain't gonna support them as well either. Now that we have nothing to play for, we have no Champions League, we have no Premier League, we just randomly in the middle of the ocean, 11th. Why not support the players at least?
A big, deep blue ocean.
Right. And we were in color blue as well. Like we need to support. We need to support these players. As much as we call them trash, rubbish, like you making the guy even nervous himself. Like we followed the ball for some reason. I mean, we gonna criticize, but at least right now, imagine if we keep on calling them trash, and they decided to say, you know what, you calling me trash in front of the whole goal. They decided not to score on purpose, so we get relegated. Now we find ourselves all the way, I don't even know, at the bottom of the ocean or something. So at this point, we need to be a proper supportive team. So let's support these players, and then when we have the transfer window, let the money talk. But until then, if we have a new season, we need a proper, at least 3 months, starting 11 players that play together. Because I can see a future of Modric, Felix, and Nani Bubuyeke. I can't even say his name.
Madueke.
Madueke. And Lukaku in front. And I'm talking about a 4
Ooh,
2
no
3 1.
swearing. No L word. Just
Right. That's gonna work.
Yeah.
These guys are young. Let's
And
give them
Kai
time.
too. Kai's only 24.
Right. Let's give these guys time. I don't
Yeah.
I don't think by the age of 26 this is gonna be skinny as if they're 16 years old. They're gonna gain it soon. They need to be physical. They will
We have
get
a
there.
question for you. Would you rather keep Mount or let him go and pay the money for Phillips?
I will keep Mount. I
That's a
would rather
hard
keep
one.
Mount.
I love Felix, I'll be honest with you.
I love Felix, but I will keep Mount because
Well, he has an
Mount,
added advantage. He's homegrown also.
right. Like I'm not a buyer or something. Mount was there when Chelsea had transfer banned. You guys remember the performance this guy was doing?
Yeah.
He was all over the pitch. So why is
Yeah.
it that all of a sudden his I don't know, his TV remote is missing
He's
or
too
for some
old
reason?
now. I'm just kidding.
All of a sudden now we want to sell Mount. Like, wait a minute. Mount is just having a bad moment now. And everybody in their career go through this. I don't remember seeing Karim Benzema playing in his age of 20. I never heard his name until 30 or until 28, 29. I
Yeah.
started hearing Karim Benzema. Let me be honest. So sometimes I'll keep
We have to be
Mount over
patient.
Felix.
Yeah.
I also think that Felix, I think he is coming from Spanish league, which is different. I mean, in UK you have to, the speed is much faster, and he's not up to that level as yet. But Mount has been here. He has been doing it this season. Okay, you can debate about his performances, but you know what you will get with Mount eventually. And Felix is. You can also say that, but looking at our future prospect and the future manager and how he will set up the team and how he will rebuild, it will be a big decision for him, I think, because I don't think we are keeping both, and it might be as somebody in the chat.
I would like to, though. I would
Maybe
like
both will
selfishly
go.
to keep
Maybe
both.
both will go. But
Yeah.
I think Pulisic is leaving. Ziyech is leaving. Ziyech is leaving. So with Nkunku coming in, and do we really need both of them? Is also debatable.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, I have to round off the show, and I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you very much for your input, and also the chat, of course, and obviously the beautiful game sums it up. One season down, another 9 to go. Yay! Slight tone of sarcasm there.
All right, man. See you guys another day.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you. And Thorsten Mole says, sell Mount and don't get Felix. And Cuckoo is coming. Santos is coming. Gavi is possibly coming. So the future's bright. I get it. But I want to thank everyone, and especially Coach, for creating a culture and a community here. And it's wonderful being a part of it. I think we can all agree on that. And so we want to thank you for providing that platform and crying in our beer, so to speak, for venting and so forth. So I want to thank everyone so much, and hope to see you soon, chaps. Okay. Good night, everybody, and be safe.
Yeah.